The global economy is moving into a new era, marked by the rise of technologies whose influence stretches far beyond their original domains. Today, artificial intelligence, robotics, and advanced semiconductor materials are no longer isolated innovations. They have become the connective tissue binding industries together. Over the past 12 months, large language models and diffusion models have evolved to generate not only text, but also images, videos, and three-dimensional objects. This capacity is fueling the development of autonomous AI agents capable of planning tasks and executing them across recruiting, predictive maintenance, customer service, and scientific research. For example, LinkedIn's hiring assistant and Zendesk's answer bot are redefining workflows, while NVIDIA's work with OEVLA models demonstrates that multimodal instruction, where robots understand and act on images, voice, and text, can create seamless interactions with humans. The economic impact is undeniable. Goldman Sachs has estimated that as many as 300 million full-time jobs could be automated worldwide. McKinsey suggests that roughly 30% of all working hours in the United States might soon be handled by AI systems. This isn't just about replacing repetitive clerical work. AI is creeping into skilled professions, from medical diagnostics to software engineering. Yet paradoxically, even as AI eliminates old jobs, it creates new ones. Roles like AI trainers, prompt engineers, and ethics auditors are emerging, although the speed at which the workforce can be retrained remains uncertain. Meanwhile, the semiconductor sector is undergoing its own revolution. Though silicon still represents more than 90% of materials used in chip manufacturing, new compounds like gallium nitride and silicon carbide are capturing a growing share of the market. Gallium nitride, for instance, is expanding at a compound annual growth rate above 20%. Powering renewable energy systems, high-frequency telecom infrastructure, and electric vehicle charging stations. Silicon carbide wafer production is forecast to increase by a factor of 5 by 2028, largely because it handles high temperatures and voltages where silicon cannot. In electric vehicles, silicon carbide reduces energy loss by as much as 30% when converting electricity, enabling faster charging and greater driving range. China's industrial base is playing an outsized role in this semiconductor transformation. Chinese firms now control nearly 50% of the global robotics market, up from 30% in 2020. That is partly because manufacturing represents a share of China's GDP roughly 3 times larger than that of the United States. This scale advantage enables cheaper production and faster iteration. For example, the Unitree G1 humanoid robot costs between $16,000 and $21,600 and is built without any U.S. components. It has 23 degrees of freedom, a dexterous hand, NVIDIA Jetson Orin compute support, and can learn tasks by watching videos. By contrast, Figure AI, valued at $39 billion, has secured funding from Microsoft, OpenAI, NVIDIA, Amazon, and Jeff Bezos. Its ambition is to deliver 100,000 humanoid robots over the next 4 years, with a manufacturing capacity of 12,000 units annually. This surge in robotics isn't only about efficiency, it is geopolitical. China's strategy, embodied in the Made in China 2025 plan, aims to secure leadership in robotics, semiconductors, and AI as tools of economic leverage. As these technologies mature, they will increasingly shape global supply chains, labor markets, and strategic dependencies. The digital twin revolution is another piece of this puzzle. By creating real-time virtual replicas of supply chains and production systems, companies can model scenarios, anticipate disruptions, and optimize decisions proactively. But deploying digital twins isn't cheap or simple. Integration challenges, data inconsistencies, cybersecurity risks, and high implementation costs have prevented many firms from moving beyond pilots. Robust data governance frameworks and workforce training programs are essential to extract value while protecting sensitive operational data. In healthcare, GLP-1 drugs like Ozempic and Wegovy have extended their influence from treating type 2 diabetes to triggering a shift in consumer behavior. Consumption of soft drinks has dropped by about 7% among GLP-1 users, while alcohol intake fell by roughly 1.4%. The aesthetic industry has responded to what is being called the Ozempic face, a gaunt appearance after rapid weight loss, by offering targeted procedures like deep plane facelifts and laser resurfacing. Meanwhile, Eli Lilly's bimagrumab combination therapy has demonstrated that it can preserve muscle mass 70% better than semaglutide alone. In the financial sector, AI has delivered measurable improvements. MasterCard doubled its detection rate of compromised cards and tripled merchant fraud detection speeds. Predictive inventory management in logistics has slashed out-of-stock incidents by 30% and cut excess inventory by 25%. Yet the same AI engines are cannibalizing traditional advertising revenues by bypassing the web pages where ads used to live, consolidating control with platform owners rather than publishers. The data centers powering these AI systems are consuming roughly 3% of global electricity, and their energy demand could rise to between 460 and 1,000 terawatt-hours by 2026. Solutions like liquid cooling, dynamic workload management, and renewables integration are critical to containing costs and emissions. Some cloud providers are experimenting with distributed models, such as Hyvenet, which leverages idle capacity on personal devices. While this approach cuts energy use by about 30% and shrinks carbon footprints by 77%, it also introduces challenges around data security and latency. On the macroeconomic front, tariff policy is further complicating the landscape. Deloitte forecasts a tariff average around 15% through 2026, with rates as high as 50% on Chinese goods. A 25% tariff on Canadian and Mexican imports could add up to 0.8 percentage points to core inflation, while an extreme scenario of 60% tariffs on China might drive inflation up by as much as 2.2 percentage points. As trade friction grows, companies are rethinking supply chains, diversifying away from single regions and investing in resilience, even at the cost of higher expenses. China itself is shifting its economic model. While real estate has cooled, the country is pivoting toward high-tech manufacturing. Production of 3D printing devices, industrial robots, and new energy vehicles is surging at annual rates above 9%. Yet despite a resilient industrial base, China faces the same fundamental challenge: how to adapt its workforce to a world where AI and automation compress the link between economic growth and job creation. All of these trends, AI's rise as a quasi-autonomous agent, semiconductors as enablers of energy transition, robotics as instruments of geopolitical competition, and GLP-1 drugs as catalysts of consumer shifts, signal that no sector operates in isolation. The same technological forces driving efficiency and scale also introduce systemic risks: data bias, privacy breaches, labor displacement, and supply chain fragility. For investors, executives, and policymakers, the message is clear. The next decade will reward those who can see beyond the boundaries of their industries and recognize that innovation is no longer linear. It is a web of interdependencies where a breakthrough in AI can reverberate into logistics, healthcare,